Hi, my name is Abby Burr, and my group is going to tell you a little bit more about Heineken. So, Heineken falls under the beer and brewing industry. It was founded by Gerald Adrian Heineken in 1864 when he purchased a brewery in Amsterdam, where the company is headquartered. And he began by implementing the current brewing innovations and became the first brewer on the planet to introduce quality control labs. These ensured consistency in taste and fermentation across all batches during the manufacturing and distribution process. It differentiated itself from other breweries at the time because it was producing lager while others were producing a lot of ale, porter, and brown. And it was officially named Heineken in 1873 to keep their family-owned values at the forefront of their operations. The company sells to 190 countries and is Europe's largest brewer with approximately 85,000 employees across the globe. Their product portfolio consists of beer, cider, soft drinks, and other beverages. Heineken sells to the Americas, Africa, Middle East, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Some of their company brands are Dos Equis, Tecate, Amstel, and Red Stripe. They have others as well, but these are some of the bigger ones worth mentioning. As for their competitors, there's Anheuser-Busch, headquartered in Belgium, and they produce Budweiser, Stella Artois, Corona, and Michelob. And there's Carlsberg, headquartered in Denmark, and they make Carlsberg and Tuborg, which is most popular in Europe and parts of Asia. Next is Molson Coors, which is a Canadian-American company headquartered in Chicago, and this and Anheuser-Busch are probably the most familiar ones to people living in America. But some of Molson Coors' most notable products would be Coors Light, Miller Lite, and then Blue Moon. And then Diageo, which is headquartered in the UK, makes Guinness. They mostly do liquors, but because Guinness is the most popular stout beer in the world, it's definitely worth mentioning. And then Asahi Group is headquartered in Japan with beers like Asahi Super Dry, which is most popular in Japan, and then they have Peroni, most popular in Italy, and then Mountain Goat, most popular in Australia. There's also Kirin Holdings Company, also headquartered in Japan, which makes Kirin Ichiban, and is a competitor for Heineken, mostly in Japan and other Asian countries. And some of the market trends we've been noticing is that Gen Z drinks less alcohol than previous generations. So in 2018, 28% of college students reported that they do not drink alcohol, whereas in 2002, that number was 20%. And then about 30% of young adults out of college said that they don't drink any alcohol. So in order to kind of attack this market trend, Heineken offers their 0.0, which is a non-alcoholic beer, and they also have some lower alcohol percentage options. Another market trend we've been noticing is that consumers have been spending more money on fewer purchases of higher quality. So Heineken wants to make sure that they can offer a premium experience by expanding their portfolio to include premium beverages. Another market trend we've seen is AI, and just AI being utilized around the world to improve processes, increase efficiency, and help aid in complex decision making. So Heineken has implemented artificial intelligence to improve innovation and data utilization to improve their business. And then lastly, there's been an increase in customer interest in sustainable and environmentally friendly products. So Heineken launched their Evergreen strategy in February of 2021, which is aiming to deliver superior and balanced growth for the company. They created a value creation model called the Green Diamond, and this model puts growth, profitability, capital efficiency, and sustainability and responsibility at the same priority level. And some of the specific ways they've been implementing these practices has been transitioning breweries to solar, wind, and biomass energy, shifting towards 100% recyclable, reusable, or compostable packaging by 2030, investing in electric delivery trucks and rail transportation, and then working with farmers on climate-resistant agricultural practices. And then they have some plans to be net zero carbon emissions by 2030 and full value chain net zero by 2040.
Okay, so this is Heineken's supply chain map. They go from getting their materials in agriculture to malting and brewing, the production of the actual liquid itself, and their packaging materials, and bottling their product and shipping it through a large network of distributors to their customers and then further to their consumers. So Heineken sources almost 93% of their raw materials from a network of over 3,000 local farmers. And these raw materials mainly consist of three main materials: barley, hops, and water. From there, they move into the production stage, which is begins with malting, which is the soaking and drying of the barley. And from there, they go into the brewing, which is mainly done in-house and largely in their main brewery in the Netherlands. Sorry, let me go back. Their malting mainly takes place in South Africa, North America, and Europe. And then the brewing in the Netherlands, and their packaging materials is a glass bottle, and they source these glass bottles from a producer by the name of Veralia, and they are also located in the Netherlands, which is convenient in terms of transportation costs, and they happen to be the third largest producer of glass packaging in the world. And once they have their product bottled and ready to ship, they distribute it to over 190 countries throughout the world, and they use a massive network of distribution partners. And who they're shipping to are the customers and consumers. Heineken has a very large base of customers and consumers. Large numbers of companies buy and sell Heineken products to all sorts of people all over the world. And through their marketing strategies, you can clearly tell they care about recycling, and they use many recycling firms to participate in eco-friendly practices, and customers and consumers can clearly see this. And yeah.
All right, what makes Heineken's supply chain top rated? They're always committed to efficiency and innovation. They recently implemented a software company called Ames. This company accelerates other companies through mathematical optimization, and this has definitely advanced Heineken's supply chain across all levels and has revolutionized the way they do business. They currently operate at 200 manufacturing sites, having 300 brands in 190 countries. So they definitely have a huge worldwide presence. And recently, they've wanted to take a more like holistic approach with their suppliers. They created like a supplier performance tool, which has it's helped them make it more of a focal point to strengthen relationships with suppliers. Um, and they always want to be seen as their customer of choice. So, um, it's big for companies to treat their suppliers well, because you always want to have that relationship intact, and Heineken does a good job of that. And last year they teamed up with Blue Yonder Cognitive Demand Planning, and this has improved Heineken's demand and capacity planning. This has strengthened the forecast accuracy and minimized bias. Blue Yonder uses AI and machine learning to their advantage, which is huge because this AI and technology has definitely made its way into supply chain, and Heineken has not fallen behind at taking advantage of that. So they've definitely used that to help them succeed. And more conventional forecasting methods keep falling short recently, so they need to keep getting better with this AI and machine learning, but they're doing a really good job at it. And with Blue Yonder, Heineken is now receiving a boost with more accurate, data-driven decisions where they have been able to respond much quicker in the moment as well. About 8 years ago, Heineken was experiencing low forecast accuracy, which led to high stocks and out of stock. But they called in a company called Ion, who was known for their success in forecasting and planning. And they created an insights dashboard, which helped find the root causes of some of these problems with like low forecast accuracy. So it definitely improved their forecast accuracy and shelf availability, and it also reduced their total inventory in their supply chain, so they weren't just racking up those costs with inventory just sitting there. So Ion was really good for them. So one of Heineken's main focuses in their supply chain is their sustainability. They're one of 10 major beverage companies to join the Refresh Alliance, which this group puts heavy emphasis on renewable energy and sustainability. And in the future, their goal is to become net zero by 2040. They want to become carbon neutral. And by doing all this, they've created a brand and an image of, how they call it, brew a better world. And the sourcing of their materials and their procurement plays a significant role in reaching their goals. They're constantly working with their suppliers on responsibly sourcing materials, reducing weight and any like unnecessary packaging, and they always want to make sure that there's renewable energy in the way like they're producing materials and stuff. And like I said earlier, one of their main goals is sustainability, and through all these practices, they're creating a very green supply chain. And as Heineken sends their products into the markets, they're kind of rethinking and reshaping their strategy, like their packaging design to increase recyclability. And they're also working with their markets to reuse packaging materials, recover used packaging, and recycling materials to create new packaging materials. And this is all these things are really playing a big role in why Heineken's supply chain is so successful, and they're just doing so much that's really good for the environment. And yeah. So just some general challenges that Heineken is facing. One is political instability. Trade wars and tariffs heavily affect the way that Heineken might be able to distribute their products to other countries. And if, they're not allowed to send these products into some countries that they're used to doing business with, this is going to throw off the way they operate. And, they always need to be ready to change in that way. And this will also just affect their profitability. And then some economic factors, they need to focus on moving into markets with high growth, because markets with high growth, you'll probably see more income coming in. This is where demand will increase. But when demand does increase, Heineken needs to make sure that their demand planning and capacity planning is great. And, when there's downturns in markets, you'll probably see demand lower a little bit, and sales are impacted. And then also the cost of raw materials is a factor. And social factors, consumer preferences are always changing, and the rise of craft beer and more innovations are threatening traditional beer such as Heineken. So definitely like a lot of competitors to deal with. And then environmental factors. Concerns for Heineken are to reduce carbon emission, minimize water usage and waste. And it's definitely not easy to do this, but good thing. One of Heineken's main focal points is sustainability. And then legal factors, production, advertising, and packaging requirements differ across countries, and this affects how the company will market their products. All right, so moving into more specific challenges that Heineken has faced and is still facing. COVID-19 pandemic was a big one. Like a lot of stores and a lot of bars shut down, so it kind of put Heineken in a hole, and it was very hard for them to do business, just like a lot of other companies. And then the Ukraine war is heavily disrupting their business that they usually do in Russia. And just normal supply chain disruptions we see every day. But a specific one was the shortage of containers in the Suez Canal. And then volatility is the key word here. It seems like everything's always changing, especially in the supply chain world. We see a lot of changes in the economy and consumer behavior. So this impacts Heineken's forecasting, their production, and their delivery of products to customers. So they always have to be prepared for these changes. And then the quick advancement in technology is also another challenge, just because, I mean, with the way AI is moving and advancing every day, Heineken needs to train its employees and become, just so efficient and or proficient in their use of AI. If they take advantage of this, it could advance their operations, and they could outlast their competitors. So, but it is tough to incorporate this technology into the marketplace sometimes. And what is the future like? Volatility will accelerate due to issues in Ukraine and Israel, and also elections in the United States can impact where we see Heineken's supply chain go in the future. And then consumers' expectations with more innovations will become increasingly difficult to meet. And then the question, like, will AI continue to be a great resource that Heineken can use, or can it become too advanced and too complicated to use sometimes? So.
Some of the recommendations we're going to make for Heineken would be to enhance real-time forecasting and supply chain responsiveness, accelerate sustainability efforts, invest in workforce training programs, and diversify and regionalize supply chain networks. Thank you.